And the icons have been provided by someone from the Ishtar named EXO, and I just created the tier list. All the links will be in the description. And that's it. I'm gonna just go one by one through them and explain my reasoning for the tier. Um, I've just recently completed a run with playing with most of these perks, and this is the sentiment. So we're starting with Fatality. So these are the melee perk lines. We get 2 per tier, so you can have a tier 1 either Fatality or Sprint. Fatality over here, I'm just gonna add it probably at tier C or something. The reason it can be useful is when you are in melee. Now that it actually scales, it's better, much better than previously, and you can drive by, kill people, and it doesn't cost any action points, so it's just for action economy. Some people like to leave wounded enemies alive, just so they can block areas for other monsters to advance, but I just prefer to straight up kill them. It works with melee weapons that are quite spread out, like AoE, spears, and others. You usually have monsters that survive with low HP, and that's basically almost always we're gonna be nothing great with it, but not terrible. It's very bad if you go unranged with it, but you're not gonna pick that unranged. This is the melee perk line. The second skill, the second perk is gonna be sprint. So the sprint perk, basically, I'm gonna put it probably in D or E tier. This, if you're playing the game well, you don't really need the sprint perk unless you somehow have very low movement points. What's the sprint perk used for is, for example, if you're new to the game and are not really planning your exit strategy. So melee heroes have to have an exit strategy when they go in to kill. Either they need to you can do multiple things. You can run away, you can stay behind some cover, you can stay nearby wounded enemies, so you'll take less damage if you want to stay deep inside, or you can stay nearby stunned enemies. And there are many ways to do it, but sprint basically, if you find yourself um, catching yourself being stuck inside many zombies, you can pick up sprint just to make your time easier. But ideally, you don't really need it. Uh, how you should think about sprint? For example, you're paying 10 health to get out of, let's say, 2 or 3 hits. That will take 50 health off of you. So that's how sprint works. Probably even gonna put it in E tier, but yeah, something like this. Regarding bodybuilder, um, I'm gonna put it. Let me go back to sprint. I'm gonna keep it in D because it still has one extra use. In situations where you have actions but you don't have movement, you're gonna waste those actions. In those situations, sprint can be useful because you can use it 2 times per turn. So I'm gonna keep it at D instead of E because you can use it to get in range to use your final actions. So that's one of them. Regarding, we're going to tier 2. For the melee perk line, we have bodybuilder or spiky skin. Bodybuilder is interesting right now. Let me see which one it is. This one. So bodybuilder, basically every 20 current health, after 120 you get more physical damage, and it's current health, not max health. So if you get damaged, you lose damage. So you need to be careful not to get hit too much. So this one, it can scale pretty well, but you need a lot of investment into it, which it's a fun, it's a well-designed perk, but I think it's probably C tier because you do need heavy investment, but it does open up some mm, options, some build options that can be quite fun. The alternative of the tier 2 is the spiky skin. Spiky skin basically also scales with max health, and I don't find it as good as, for example, raw physical damage. We are judging basically in practical situations overall. For example, it doesn't matter the tier itself. It matters when you are offered this perk, what's gonna happen when when you're offered it, how often you're gonna pick it, and how useful it's gonna be in game. So we're just gonna go in normal wiki order, which is gonna be increasing in tiers. But yeah, it's if you, how should I say it? For example, the tier 5 perks are the best, but you cannot put all the tier 5s at S and all the tier 1s at E. It's based on the options you have at that point, at that level. So yeah, we are judging them based on their relative options in the tier. Uh, so yeah, spiky skin. Spiky skin is fun, but at most can be hit by 4 enemies. You have to invest in defenses. So it's not that great. It's just fun. It's a fun perk if you want to try it out. The next one, we're going into tier 3 where we have Vampire or Relentless. And let me start with Relentless. Relentless, I feel, is a pretty good skill for melee. Since the rework, um, Relentless was like percentage based. Now, if your hero has 3 or less movement points and attacks in melee range, you restore 2 movement. So you can go in and just get go through a lot of monsters, after which you hit only one monster. And yes, you are right, Top Gun. Regarding spiky skin, you can get hit by more than 4 when you have monsters that have range. Archers, the assassinate guys. But those aren't that many currently in the game. Only if you have archer waves. And yes, Relentless is pretty good for melee. It's exactly what melee heroes need. You get free movement points while you do your things. And you can plan your turn very well. And also to mention, Relentless works when you perform an attack even on empty tiles, on empty air. So you don't need to hit somebody. If your attack allows targeting on the ground, for example, like the sword dash, you can use Relentless to generate, you convert like 1 AP into 4 movement or something like that. Because you get 2 from the dash and 2 from Relentless itself. It's I find myself picking this up on basically all melee heroes that have it. And if you don't have Relentless, you will have Vampire, which Vampire is also good on melee. It's good that they exclude each other. Vampire, I also believe this is not as good as Relentless because it's more defensive, but it becomes A tier if you go with Blood Magic because you do need it to sustain. Blood Magic is another perk we're gonna see that basically instead of using mana you use health, and Vampire can let you sustain that. Vampire is a good uh, skill, but it only works with melee. So for example, if you whenever an enemy is killed using physical damage, so if it is magic, ranged, or poison, or anything else, or even other, there are some damage types that are none, it doesn't count. So you have to be in melee range. You have to bite them with Vampire. But so I will just put it in B. Okay, anything else? We're going to tier 4. We have organic armor or head on. Let's start with organic armor. Organic armor makes you receive 50% more healing. Okay, and all of the hero armor is transformed into health at 75%. Um, this one is weird. It can work well with Vampire and the rest. Vampire, for example, instead of healing you 4, will heal you 6. Mhm. Yeah, and indeed, Vampire works with human ballista because it does. The human ballista perk is adaptive with physical. The organic armor I will put it fairly low. I don't really pick it up. And usually when you get the combo online of Vampire and Blood Magic, this one is tier 4. It's kind of behind. You're not going to go back to pick it up. So that's why I don't think it's very well positioned on the perk tree. If Blood Magic was earlier, maybe, and this one came after, maybe yes, but right now, no. Regarding the other perk called Head On, I will put it fairly low, and I will tell you why. Uh, every 4 tiles travel, the next attack gets 15% physical and no block. This modifier cannot be stacked, so you cannot go 8 tiles to get it twice. But basically, it gives you no block after you traveled a bit. That's how it works. So here's why I don't like it. Physical damage inherently uh, does double damage to armor. Wait, sorry. This is no block, not armor. Uh, so there are some monsters that have a block, but melee units just hit very hard. You go through their armor and the block. The only Let me see which melee would. I'm thinking of situations where you would want to pick up something like head on. The 15 physical is something, but it's for only one hit. The only one that I think of would be like the dagger, which with multi-hit, because the dagger, there are some units with block, and the 15 physical can work in your favor if you travel a bit and you start multi-hitting with a lot of multi-hit. Yeah, you're talking about which one? About this one? This one only works on melee head on because it's only physical damage. And the no block, I see what you mean, but it's not worth taking it. The no block part indeed works on everything, so you could use it on a ranged, but there are better options usually. So it's a very weird perk. You don't find situations where it's it's worth. Can you explain why the E on organic armor? So basically organic armor, it works well with the combo with blood magic and vampire, but usually it's tier 4, it's a bit late, and once you get everything online, it you don't really need the sustain that much. So the difference between 4 health per kill to 6, which is 50%, isn't that great. This one of course works with potions and everything, but you don't really need it in practical situations. If you want to like, I would take this one if you want to stay front line and between many monsters for some reason. There are some builds that do that you can stall enemies. And basically this is like a package where you want to get hit. So that's the only one. Um, and if you don't plan from the start to use it, just slap it on a character mid-run. It can kill that character. You're talking about which of the two? But yeah, both of them are very organic armor. Okay. It can kill that character. It can kill in the sense that you're wasting a perk point. Yeah, I see. Yeah, it's very situational. This one is like a build. Come at me and hit me. Build the perk, but you have to be very planned and specific. And head on is just wacky. It does basically. It's a worse version of momentum. It gives you bonuses, but if you want to just travel to hit, just get momentum. Okay, let's go to tier 5, which tier 5s are really interesting. I'm gonna start with Berserk, the lesser of the two, and I'm gonna put Berserk probably at C tier. This again goes into the archetype of the tanky boy that wants to get hit a lot. You can use Berserk. You get 3% damage for every time you get hit, even from ranged attacks. Um, Let me see. Is it better than Spiky Skin? I think it's on the same level of Spiky Skin. So yeah, even even Bodybuilder might be better in that class. Yeah, it's for tier 5 because there is a lot of competition. Berserk is mostly for farming, and if you want to do like wacky stuff. Some people just prefer going very high and stacking damage, but it's one of the few things that are actually can scale a lot. I think there is no cap, so that makes it a bit attractive. You can have a hyper carry with Berserk, but very rarely you will have to do that. So yeah, it's a meme. Berserk is more of a meme, but there might be in future situations where we have maybe some long nights or some endless modes. Berserk would become very good in those situations. It would become like A tier, but for now, it's not gonna happen as the damage resets at the end of the night. And now we're coming with the best melee perk line, Perk, which is Boom. I've been fairly surprised by this one. I'm gonna put it probably in S tier for many melee guys. So Boom doesn't work only on melee. There are some people that want it even in a ranged, but you have to be very short range. It says whenever an enemy killed within a range of 3, the overkill damage is transferred to all enemies. So it first of all, imagine you have like a monster surrounded by 4 others, and you just whack it with a hammer. You're gonna kill 5 monsters with a single damage attack, single target attack, because the overkill damage goes to everyone around him in the north, south, east, west direction, and it's very good. And you feel like playing Bejeweled or some mobile games when you put this on, because you do some wacky zombie explosions over there. And other another thing to mention about this is that it doesn't chain. So if you overkill a guy and the damage that's left over overkills another guy, it doesn't trigger another boom. So it's just one boom. And yes, indeed, there is another perk called proximity shot that you can use like for crossbows and others to boom people. So you just go very close. Indeed, it works well. But yeah, this is like action economy wet dream, the boom perk. It's the end game for a melee character, but it can also work for other characters that like to stay up close. Also for power staff. Power staff boom sounds nice for many things. And it also works for AoE. You don't have to do single target. You can do like power staff and do like the 2 by 3 blaze, and it's gonna extend even more. It's very powerful right now. Probably even too powerful, but yes. So that's the melee perks. In their Relentless, Boom, and Vampire are the highlights. The rest are the the ones down below are situational. I'm pretty happy. Let me check if anything else needs to be. Maybe something I'm gonna make it like, nah, they're kind of equal. Nothing is like never pick. F tier is you should never pick this one in any situation. So that's F tier. So these are the melee. May How do you say melee? Why am I saying melee? I think both pronunciations are fine. I'm not a native speaker, but yes. Relentless movement as much as you want. Boom, action efficiency as much as you want. Vampire, you don't die. That's how it is. And it's required for blood magic. Otherwise you have to do some wacky shit like have some potion guys to heal you up. You need vampire. It's the only form of lifesteal I think in this game. So that's what makes it unique. Now we're gonna go to the magic ones. So magic ones are interesting. We're gonna start with the tier 1, like little bit of mana on the side perks, the harvester and mana growth. Let's start with Harvester. Harvester, every 8 enemies killed, you get +2 mana regen. So you don't get mana today, you get it at the end of the night. And this modifier is reset. So this one, it can be useful for hyper carries that are very mana hungry. There are some mages and rangers can use this one. So this magic perk line is not mages only, but I will put it somewhere on the level of fatality of usefulness. But it can become like B tier or even A tier depending on how much a guy kills. Probably multi-hit people are interested in this one. But by itself and in most situations, like in 80% of the situations, I will put it on about C tier, which is average tier. So yeah, it's you can get some mana. Late game, if you get potions, if you buy potions, and if you have a guy with mana overload, you will have plenty of mana. Okay. The other one is the most boring perk of I think the new patch, which is mana growth. You just get +2 mana for each level. And is this one, and I think it's not necessarily F, it's E tier, because there are some situations when you kind of need a bit of more mana. But just imagine you're like level 10, you get 20 mana. But that's like the best case scenario, and you didn't take any of the other good perks. There are perks that work for you even better. For example, what is at tier 2? You can have like, let me see other things. Even a third eye is better. Contamination or something. There are better options usually. And it's on the weak side. It scales pretty slowly. Like your heroes can start with 30 mana and can go further. So this one would be on E. It could be buffed probably with +3 mana, and it would be, let's say, D or C. But that +2 is very, very weak. And now we're gonna go to the real tier 2, which is Magic Fuel and Critical Runes, which work in opposite directions. So let's start with the classic, which is Magic Fuel. This one is, I'm gonna put it at A tier. It's not as good as Boom, but it's one of the things that many want to pick. So Magic Fuel, your flat damage is increased by 25% of your current mana. So you're incentivized to drink potions and keep your mana high, or have other people drink you potions or regen mana in any way. Uh, if you stack a lot of mana for mana hungry people, you get damage. So your mana level ups become more valuable when you pick up this. And this one works for any damage type. It doesn't say magic damage is increased, which I think probably should, but yeah, if it was only magic damage, it would have been like B and C or something. It would have been still good on magic users, but not that insta pick. It's a very good magic fuel. It gives you like free damage. So if you have like 40 mana, which people heroes tend to have, this is like 10% damage increase, which is a pretty good for an early tier 2 perk point. But not always. You can go lower in mana, so it's like variable increase in damage. So it's not as good as having flat 10% damage at 40 mana. It can go lower, but it's still good. I think on the level of Relentless, because damage is so good in this game at the moment. And Critical Runes is like Magic Fuel, but in the opposite direction. It's a bit more controllable, to be honest, than Magic Fuel, because you can stay low and have your potions only when you need it. But I will put it a bit lower. It says every 10% missing mana you get crit with 4% critical. And it's pretty good. With 50% you get 20% crit. But usually damage is better than crit in most situations, unless you're really close to the crit limit. Because sometimes crits in this game can overkill a guy. You rarely need the crit if you build damage right. Crits are good for strong monsters that you save an attack because you critted. And crits in this game, I think, are 150% by default, the critical damage. So yeah, critical runes are probably B tier because of that. Let's go to the new Thrifty and the Energized perk. Thrifty, previously it was different. Now, when you spend 8 action points, the next mana consuming skill gets mana cost halved, rounded down. Uh, it's Thrifty is interesting and it works best with big mana consuming skills and scrolls and the meteor ring. So that's how Thrifty works. But I would put it on average because you have to think how much mana does it really save. It depends on the hero. If the hero has some nice scrolls, like he has weapons that use a lot of mana, like the spear ultimate, the orb ultimate. The Actually, when I'm talking about something, let me just highlight it like this. So put Thrifty, so we know what we're talking about. Hello, hello, welcome to the chat. So yeah, we're talking about Thrifty. It's good with fat mana skills, but usually there are other options available, so it's just average. If you find something else that is around here, you should pick it up. So yeah, I'm gonna just keep it at C probably. Now energized, this one is a bit more interesting. Eh, You're not gonna pick thrifty and energized, you have to see your generation. You're gonna have only one of them, which is good because they're anti-synergetic if you have both of them, if you could have both of them. But yeah, let me see. So energized is over here. I would put it on B tier or C, depending on some people. It's not pickable because they don't use that much mana, so you won't get many actions. But some heroes, so it's basically either B or E, depending on the hero. So some heroes that do have mana will get free action points, which that's always good to have more action economy. But you do need to spend a lot of mana. You need to spend big attacks, which usually cost 2 action points. So you like get a 50% discount for like a seven mana death ray or something. But it is useful. It's better than like fatality or all of these perks. So let me highlight energized. So yeah, every 7 mana you restore 1 AP. It's rarely picked. At least in my games, I tend to conserve mana a lot, so I don't pick this one. So this one is rarely picked by me, so that means it's not as good as other options we will see on this list. So we level it down to like C or D because you have to build it. We could put it C because you don't have to build it. You have to have the hero that has the skills necessary and the scrolls. You can build it afterwards, but mm, you can't rely on that too much in this game. You have to pick the best with what you have usually. But yeah, you can build it if you want, thinking for the future. And this is thrifty. Oh, that's thrifty. You are right. So let's not be confused. They do look similar. Thrifty. Why does thrifty have that icon? Oh, every 8 action points you get mana, and every mana you get action points. The icons are a bit generic, let's say. But yeah, I'm gonna put it like this. Thrifty stays in C. It's just average, and it can save you some mana. This one is better because it gives you AP. AP is better than mana in basically every situation. Okay, now we're going to tier 4. The tier 4 of the magic perk line has blink or explosive essence, and both of them are not very good. Blink is good by itself, so let's start with blink. But you have items that give you blink, and it's easier to buy an item than to get a perk to give you the blink skill. And I think it's the same. So blink. Hmm, Let me see, cost 3 mana, 1/6 range. And I think it's like 4 mana if you have the item. Plus 1 AP is good, yeah. So Blink is rarely picked. Let me see. It's situational. It can be useful if you have a hero that wants to reach places. The range is 6 and it's not modifiable as it says. And you can use it twice per turn. Um, it's a weird perk reuse that does something that's already in the game. I never picked it up basically. But you can have like a melee guy that is starved for movement because you just built him and you didn't get good RNG. You can pick up Blink on him, or a Scepter guy, anyone that wants to be close. Or you have someone with Boom that wants to get in and out. Even a Ranger or a Mage that has Boom and wants to get very close to trigger Boom. So in those cases, Blink might be useful. Other than that, not really. Now we have Explosive Essence. Explosive Essence seems to be really bad or very bad. Let me see. When attacking with a mana consuming skill, the attack gets plus 50% crit power. So if you have like default crit power, which is 150%, you get a third more crit. But I think I never picked this on. Why do I say if you have like a guy with 80% crit, I don't even know if you need this one. So Explosive Essence I think is gonna be our first never pick it because it does what level ups usually do. Like a blue level up gives you like 50% crit if I'm not mistaken. And this one only works for mana consuming skills, so not your regular skills because people like to crit with their normal attacks also. It's very situational. It has no flavor. It has nothing that sets it apart. It's I don't see a situation when I want to pick it apart from having a hyper carry. But let me tell you something about crit power. Crit power has diminishing returns, so when you crit, it's usually enough. And depending, there are a lot of little monsters in the game. So if you crit even more on a monster, it doesn't happen much unless you have Boom, for example, and you want to crit a lot to clear the whole screen. But with Boom, it becomes E tier instead of F. It's not much. The difference between 150% crit and 200% crit is something, but on most monsters you won't need it. That's the thing when you crit, even if you have like 80% crit. And usually you can pick up like a level from crit, 25% from a level up. So that's Explosive Essence doesn't do much. So we're going to tier 5 now. We have a Sheer Power and Mana Collector. We're going to start with Mana Collector because it's a classic from another patch. Whenever a critical hit is landed, restore 1 mana. It's much weaker now. I'm going to put it probably in D or even E because tier 5s are really good usually. And when a critical hit is landed, hmm, it's like an alternative to blood magic to get infinite mana. Top Gun, can you tell me this was rebalanced? Does it work with multi-hit in the current patch? I think it was removed once and it was added back or something. So multi-hit with it says whenever a critical hit is landed, so you restore 1 mana. So with multi-hit, it should still work to give you like as much mana as you want for multi-hit. So this one is like B or A depending. I think it should work based on the wording and my understanding of the mechanics. It works, it's like B with multi-hit and usually bad otherwise. You need to have a lot of crit. And 1 mana in the current patch is not as much. The mana, all the mana was increased across the board like 2 patches ago. So 1 mana is quite tiny and you have to crit a lot. So I will put it at E because it's a tier 5 and there are better options. So let's say D because it has potential with multi-hit. It's situational. And sheer power is the other one, tier 5, that I don't find it very good. I picked it up today just for one of my runs the only level where this one is good is Glenwald Knight 10 at the moment, literally, because there are the Twisteds. The Twisteds have like 50% resistance, and they have a buff that gives them an extra 50% resistance, and they are like to 95% resistance. And if you're melee, you basically do 5% damage to them. You do no damage. I got caught off guard by that. But the mage users, because magic damage type ignores 50% of target's resistance, they will be doing half the damage. But with this one, they will do full damage for Twisted. But it's only good in one night, Glenwald Night 10. That's makes it basically a never pick. I picked it just to test it, and it was good on some Twisted. But I used the whole perk just to kill 5 Twisted. That's how it felt. Maybe in the future, when we get harder maps and resistance is everywhere, and everybody will just scream in fear because they can't kill the monsters, and we have to wait for the mages to do the damage, then it's gonna be good on some late game bosses or something to unlock your damage. Maybe the devs have something in mind with future bosses, but right now it's a it's a power tool, and you have nothing to break using it. So that's sheer power. It's a lot of power. If it went negative, then we would be talking, but it doesn't go negative. It just ignores. It's not like if this one sheer power was everything you hit, you has like minus 50% resistance, then we're talking like everything you hit has multiplied damage. But that would be like S tier or something. But this one just ignores resistance, and only monsters that have resistance are affected. Very situational, and situational is not good. You don't want situational. Some perks, as you can see, many perks that are good in general, in many situations, are high. And many perks that are situational are bad. Because this game is also a percentage game. The game throws situations and challenges at you. And if those challenges are rare, and the perk is very situational, you're not gonna get actual use out of that perk. So we need actual uses in practice. So I told you where this one is useful. Glenwell Knight 10. And that's it. And I think this is everything in the magic perk lines. We're gonna go to the ranged ones. So range ones, we're gonna start with steady aim. Let's see, range is at R. Over here are the ranged ones. So steady aims is a classic, it's a tier 1. More accuracy and skill range if you didn't move. I would put it at, let me see. Rangers like to pick it up, especially if you're standing in a watchtower. I'm gonna put it at A or something. It's like the equivalent to relentless for melee units. You just reach people. So steady aim, you just reach people, and the 10% accuracy, because the ranged attacks have their drop off in accuracy. It multiplies the dodge chance of the monsters the further away you are. It's good. It becomes good. And rangers don't need to move at the beginning of their turn if they're positioned correctly. So it's like getting 10% accuracy in 90% of the time when you shoot, and plus on a skill range. And it's very early. It's not much. 10% AC and 1 skill range is not much. But imagine you get a level up that says 10% AC and 1 skill range. That's a good level up, you know? And it's very early. That's the point. That's what makes it good. And it's good in many situations. Other than that, let me see. Steady aim is not good on melee. And steady aim is also good on mage. That's also important to so it says ranged. It is ranged. Magic damage is ranged attack. It's a ranged attack, not a ranged damage type. So it does work. The alternative to steady aim is perseverance, which is the worst roll of the two in that slot of tier 1 ranged. So perseverance, let me put it. When people dodge you, you get attacks. So let me put it probably at E. And it also has plus 10% accuracy. It needs probably a bit. It has a midlife crisis. This perk, perseverance. It's interesting, but because accuracy is linear, it's additively. So early levels in accuracy are very good, and later levels have diminishing returns. You can remove dodge pretty fast through level ups in accuracy. So you don't need to have something like this. If accuracy was multiplicative, like it just you had to have a lot of levels in accuracy, this would have been valuable, like in B tier or something. But accuracy is easy to get, and it works very well. Accuracy works very well in this game because of the function they have for accuracy. So you don't need this one. The one that restores 1 action points, perseverance would be like average if it restored 1 AP after 2 dodges, or even hell after dodging once, or some shit. I don't know. It's after 2 dodges maybe. If it was even, let's say, if it was every time you dodge, you get your attack back. Just that was the perk. Would I still pick it up? Probably yes. That would have been like a B. But it shows you how much. Maybe the other options would be even better, because even if it was like that, every dodge you get an 1 AP back. For example, you uh, that would be abusable because you could generate with multi-hit. Man, I hate multi-hit in this game. With multi-hit and splash attacks, you could generate a lot of AP with that one. So it would have been abusable. But because accuracy exists in this game, and it's very good, which is nice for the game. Yeah, it would be broken with multi-hit. Everything is broken with multi-hit and hard to balance. But yes, um, this one has not much going for it. You don't want to miss. If you're building your characters right, basically this perk exists if you're frustrated by misses. If you're a new player and you say I don't want to miss anymore or something, and want to feel good about your misses, this is perseverance. So it has a bit of a use. Also the 10% accuracy. The next attack is 10% accuracy. Oh, sure. Yeah, you can. It increases accuracy. You can abuse a bit perseverance with multi-hit, but you're 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 planning to miss if you're doing that, and you don't want to do that. Uh, uh, an attack on a guy is always preferable than a miss, even if you have like perks like these. So it's perks that only work when you're losing are weird. Same with let me show you another example. There's another perk that I will come to is don't panic. This one is similar because you have to be losing. You have to let monsters in your territory, which is not really good to do. It means you did something bad for it to be useful. And then indeed, don't panic is useful. It can become very powerful depending on your stage, on your skill level, even if you find yourself having to deal with a lot of panicked monsters. But yeah, that's perseverance. I'm gonna just leave it there. I'm gonna go then next to Mark, which is it's a good perk. It's an interesting perk that good players know how to use. So Mark, what's the most interesting about Mark is that it costs no action points. It has a range of 9, and when you put it on a guy, it's a debuff. Debuff is can be used with opportunism. It can be used with a perk called bully. You can debuff a guy just to have a debuff on him to trigger your other effects to do combos. So Mark is good. The one that has minus 20% dodge, this one is better than it looks, the minus 20% dodge, because if a monster has, for example, you're a ranger, this works well on ranged people if you have enough range. If you have, for example, longbow has more range than mark, so you have situations where you cannot mark a guy and also hit him because mark doesn't reach him. Only your longbow reaches him. Um, it removes dodge. It's not like accuracy. It removes dodge. So for example, if you have a runner that has 25% dodge and you are a ranger and you shoot him from afar, you'll have like the times 3 dodge or something, and he will have like 70% dodge chance. But if you use mark on him, his 25% dodge becomes 5% dodge, and then it gets tripled. So from 80% dodge that he had from a long range, you put mark on him, and he will have like 15% dodge chance. So there are situations when you have like the armored runners that you can use mark for the effect of mark. But usually mark is good even on druid staff with opportunism and stuff like that. You can debuff a strong guy to do stuff. And let's not forget there is a contagion now in the game. So uh, debuffs, poisons, and other things that are very strong, it's better than vampire. We can do it like this. Vampire is like very important to the game, so that's why I'm ranking it very highly, because in some builds you kind of need vampire. But yeah, mark is not better, I think, than these three, especially how versatile these three are. Mark is not that versatile. You have to have a build for it, for mark. But any debuff that is very strong on one guy and you only have one of it can be used with contagion. So there is another combo that you can do with mark. You can have mark on multiple people for bully and contagion and a lot of shenanigans. You can do like you can play like combo druid or something over here. It's very interesting. This is how a perk should be. It just gives you a lot of wacky things that you can do. Perks that give you abilities are nice. Mark has probably 30 combos. Like a guy that really knows what he's doing can use Mark, and it gives you many options. Now, instead of Mark, you could get Third Eye. So I'm a bit of a fan of Third Eye, especially on Glenwald. So if you're on Glenwald, maybe it's a B. Otherwise, it's very bad. But um, let me see. Let's put it on D for now. Third Eye, every 2 enemy hit, the next skill gets vision. So it's enemies hit, not attacks, not every 2 attacks. So if you have multi-hit, propagation, or um, AoE, so you hit multiple enemies with one attack, it triggers. So you just do this once, and then you have Third Eye activated. But it's good only on ranged people, not on melee. So magic and ranged users. It's probably even average because I did play with it and I like it. I'm gonna put it in C. Yeah, Third Eye is interesting. It removes a lot of annoyance, but it's and here's the thing. You're hitting monsters. Here's why I'm a fan of Third Eye. You're hitting monsters in vision normally because you have to kill them. You still have to hit them. So you hit monsters in vision, and when your Third Eye is activated, you have ascended your Third Eye. You're hitting then enemies outside your vision, and you alternate in vision, outside of vision, in vision, outside of vision, until everything around you is dead. So it unlocks enemies around trees, and you don't need a watchtower. It's like a portable watchtower, essentially. That's why I like it so much. It's not as good. It's like on the level of Fatality, Thrifty, and such. It's average, but it can become like B tier or more if you have a hyper carry ranger that destroys everything, and the only thing that's stopping him is like line of sight. Then Third Eye becomes very good on that. So yeah, I'm gonna put Third Eye over there. Now we're going tier 2 ranged. So we have 2 options here. We have shorter weapons and longer weapons. Self-explanatory. The thing about shorter weapons that I really like, and I'm gonna put shorter weapons very high, is that it works on all builds almost. Uh, Let me all not all builds, all melee builds. Let me find shorter weapons. So shorter weapons will be here. Yes, this is shorter weapons. No, this is yeah, this is longer weapons, and this is shorter weapons. Okay, I'm gonna put it probably on B, somewhere on B, probably here. Shorter weapons, because they work on basically all melee users. Some melee users like to have extra skill range for shenanigans, but most melee like it. It gives accuracy and dodge. But for ranged, this is a very weird perk because it's in the ranged perk line. But ranged heroes don't want to take it because it gives you dodge and it removes skill range, which you don't want. It gives you accuracy, which is quite a good chunk. It's 15% AC alongside the dodge, but yeah, it's not much. It's probably more C. If you, it's more C, but if you're melee, it's B. So I'm gonna probably put it a bit lower in C. I don't know how to put it like, yeah, but I have to put it in one. We have to do an average. I'm gonna put it on C then. It's worse than third eye in that regard. But if you are on melee, it's comparable to like a vampire or something. It can help you. If you have like only 5% accuracy or 10% accuracy, you're now at 25% accuracy boost. So yeah, I'm gonna put it here. Longer weapon. I'm not a fan of longer weapons, and I'm gonna tell you why. Let me go back because I clicked something. So longer weapons is this one. Longer weapons, right now in the new update, you can go up to +8 skill range. So you can increase your range up to +8. And longer weapons has a drawback that is basically as bad or worse than the +2 skill range. You have legs as a ranger or a mage or anything. The only maybe this one only works like on a two-handed hammer or something, like on a melee. What the +2 skill range is so good, like on the two-handed hammer, it's very good to get like skill range on it because it's very low. Or on the power staff. The only pickups on this one is where you have something that is very strong but very short range. You pick up this one, then it's worth the -20% reliability because you already hit like mm, like hell. So yeah, but when you when you take a perk, you want to get something out of it. So I'm getting something and I'm losing something that is worse than that. So it's like a neutral, it's like a wasted perk in most situations. That's why I don't like it. Even gonna put it lower. It's like a C tier, or actually it can be a B tier on a two-handed hammer or a power staff or a dagger. On a dagger can be good, yeah. Because especially if you have a dagger with poison build, because you care about the poison mostly. So the reliability doesn't matter. So there are some situations when it becomes good. But E is like nobody can use it. D is like some people can use it. So I'm gonna do an average here. I'm putting it in D because it's useless for many, like it's a wasted perk for many, but like three people, three builds. Steady aim, but like a stronger steady aim later. Yeah, and there are options over there. So I'm gonna put it in D. Longer weapons. Imagine a longer dagger. You have a machete all of a sudden. So yeah, there are some situations. Two-handed hammer, I think, comes to mind as the best use of this because some melee skills can be increased by range, like the sword can be increased by range, the dash from the sword, stuff like that. But yeah, that's about it. -20% reliability. Reliability is good in this game because you want to be action efficient. One action kills people. You don't want people to survive with very little health. Okay, we're going to tier 4 ranged, and we have proximity shot. I was, when I first saw this one, let me see, proximity shot, which is here. I was skeptical, like, meh, what's with proximity shot? But then I noticed the scaling is not bad. The scale down. It gives you 24% damage if you're right next to the guy. So it's instantly good, but only ranged. Let me clarify that. Dealing ranged damage. So this is one of those skills that is specific, only for ranged attacks. Just a moment. Laura, te duci tu să iei mâncarea? Mersi. You just got an order. Okay, so this one, proximity shot. I did the math, so you get 24% damage. And after 6 tiles, you're back to where you started at no bonus. So if you're usually shooting enemies at about 6 on an average of 6 tiles or less, this one is worth it. And if you're very close, it's even more worth it. When I got it on multi-hit one-hand crossbow, I was incentivized to go deeper into them, as close as possible, and then start blazing everything. So I think this one, I'm gonna even put it higher. I'm gonna put it in A tier, because if you know what you're doing, it's very good. It's 20% damage usually or something, which is a lot for a perk. Oh, and this modifier cannot go below 0, which is also very important. So if you hit people at long range, you're like before. So initially I also thought it could go even negative, so it affects you negatively, making you have to choose to go closer. But no, it's always positive, this perk, so it's gonna be A tier for me. Now we have field study, and field study is also very good because you can have a guy just sit in a watchtower and he starts killing people farther and farther. But you have to kill quite a lot of them. So if you go to field study, every 12 units, it's not like 8 units, it's 12. You have to kill a lot. But it can happen. It's one skill range. Or have a two-handed hammer. It says 4 tiles or more. What is the hammer? Yeah, this one with hammer sounds really good, but you need to have some range initially. And you have to hit people. It's very, very high skill ceiling if you want to use it with a hammer. But I think it's very good. I'm gonna put it on B personally because you do need to hit a lot of enemies to get. And by the time the night is over, we have like +2 or max +3 range, which is something. But will it matter by that point? It's in practice, it can be iffy. Some people like field study, but it's above average, let's see, depending on your situation and your position, or if you're in a watchtower or not. Okay, so that's it. That's for the tier 4s. For the tier 5 choices, we have, or the roles, I should say, because you don't have a choice what you get. The tier 5s, you get exploit weakness and surgical strike. So both of them are good. Exploit weakness, basically, it's a more complex perk. It gives you 75% of your hero's uh, reliability as isolation, and opportunism based on 75% of accuracy. So it's very tricky to plan ahead for this one, but some people that like to do builds tend to do it. Reliability you tend to pick up naturally, and accuracy you tend to pick up naturally. So when you arrive at this, you might be surprised to see that it has a lot of isolation and opportunism. Opportunism part is not that great. It's very situational, but the isolation part is good. So when you pick this up, yeah, surgical strike is the better of the two, but exploit weakness can be very good, depending on, because you do stack accuracy and reliability. And if you have like an assassin perk line, uh, where you get like cherry picker, where you get 40% accuracy, it's like isolation is increased by hero's reliability. It's exactly for this. When you like single donk people, it's a bit underrated because it's confusing for people. It's like, what is this? How do I? But it can be strong. It can be worth the perk point. You will not get surgical strike. You will get this. You might as well consider it. And since the new UI, you can see the calculations of exploit weakness. What it's gonna give you exactly, so you don't have to do mental arithmetic yourself. So yeah, exploit weakness. I'm gonna put it on average because usually it's a tier 5. Let's not forget, tier 5s are very strong. So by that point, it will have bonuses, but not it's not gonna be ridiculous unless you planned for it. Which in the level up screen with so many things, you're not really planning for it. But it can become some advanced metagame in the future once we get some harder monsters. It might matter to actually have a stronger exploit weakness for single targets, um, reliability, and isolation increase. Isolation, the changes to isolation and opportunism are really great for the game because you have a lot of tactics right now that you can do. Yeah, we have to get good. I think this is a sleeper perk, exploit weakness. We're not good enough for it. It's like the Chad perk, but you have to do like acrobatics. You have to be very optimal to you have to choose your attacks to benefit from opportunism every time, isolation every time. Right now I'm trying to get isolated enemies as much as possible, even if I don't have isolation bonuses because my character could have it. I cannot check like the character screen every time. Îmi pare rău. Să-ți iei un paracetamol sau ceva. Să-ți iei și cu ceaiuri. Și te rog să mănânci supică de legume. Dacă vrei și aia de burtă, să mănânci și pe aia. Ok? Yeah. We're at home with a cold, both of us. My girlfriend has 38 degrees Celsius. We need to rest. But I have time to make tier lists and speed runs and stuff. So that's something. Okay. So exploit weakness. It's a high skill ceiling perk. And I'm a fan of it. It gives you build opportunities, that's what perks should do. We don't want boring perk. We want perks that transcend the systems that are in the game and allow you to do. Like I will show you my favorite perks later, which are the one that allows you to do mixed weapons. Okay, surgical strike. Surgical strike is good. When attacking a unit with full health, the attack gets 50% reliability, 20% accuracy. It's like there are some isolated units perks and full health perks that give you like straight up damage. So the thing about this game in practice, many enemies that you start, they go from full health to zero health, period. That's how the game goes. So this one is basically 50% reliability and 20% accuracy, which is a big chunk. And reliability is very good to have consistency in this game. So surgical strike, let me see, where are you? Surgical strike. Am I not seeing it? Is this one, right? Yeah, okay, it was to the end. I'm gonna put it probably in A because 50% reliability is a lot. It's like giving you damage on average. So it's also damage. And the 20% accuracy you will never miss because you already bought some levels in accuracy if you play the game right. So that's how the flow goes. And that's it. That's it for ranged. That was the tier 5. And now we're gonna go to the variable, the wildcard perk lines that are always the same. They don't have variation to them. You only vary what you're gonna get. We have poison, debuff, defense, and assassin. And the assassin one I think is the best one of them. But let's start with poison. Poison is really fun in the new update and very strong. Probably too strong in some areas, but let's start with septic shock. When applying poison that is already poisoned, you also apply a stun for 1 turn. And the base chance is very low, it's 35%, but it can be modified. So stun chance modifiers can work fairly well when you have a very low base chance or a very high one. So this one, Here's the thing about this one. It's average or lower because you don't really need to do that most of the time. You kind of do in situations, but when you poison people, the poison, let me see, what situation would be best? Probably on dagger, that also applies poison would be good because you usually want to hit like big monsters twice, and then they're gonna be stuck in place if you get. Um, but the most useful ones of these is with like huge area of effect or propagation poisoning, like from the druid staff or from the orb poison cloud. But you have to do it twice in an area for it to be worth it. The only one I'm gonna put it lower, to be honest. It's nice and it's very strong potentially, but in practice you don't need it. When you poison enemies and you have them run a lot, it can be like let me think. It can be good in situations where the enemies are at your gate and you want to hold them off, and you poison twice, a dangerous wave, and you might stun a few of them, so you know what to focus on. It's it's tricky to use. It requires skill to use. But in the future, we might find situations, probably in future maps, you will need stun. Like for high difficulty, stun is very good, so you don't die. So and you also slow down the advance. So I'm not gonna um, this on this perk too much. I'm gonna give it respect. I'm gonna just put it on below average for now, and maybe average in some. Like for druid staff, it's average. It can help you. I'm gonna go with tier 2, which is poisonous. Poisonous is interesting, but I think the numbers are too low. It says at the end of it, apply poison, base 20 poison. So it's 20 poison for 3. It's a 2-turn debuff, actually, not even 3. And the range is very small, so you have to be melee or like very close. This one, yeah, it's the combo with opportunism and septic shock. It's a combo enabler, but I'm also going to put it on a similar level. You have to build around with it. The problem with this is you have to be quite close. The range of 3 is non-modifiable, I think. Um, yeah, the range just says 3 in the perk. It's not affected by skill range or anything. It's good on melee and some others. But it is also one of those high ceiling. It's not even a skill. It's AP efficient. It's extra damage without using your AP, which that makes it good. Maybe even makes it average. But I'm gonna put it average because with good skill and understanding of your combos, it is strong. It can work. It applies poison. And with septic shock, you can start stunning. The poison, yeah, for debuff opportunism, I'm gonna give it average, but I'm not gonna put it much higher because you do need to know how to use it effectively. Because just having 20 damage on a guy, it's not much. Ballistas do more than that stuff. Now we're gonna go to epidemic. When applying poison, you apply contagion. So this one is, I'm gonna put it in B because contagion is interesting. And there's also contamination, toxic leech. Actually, yeah, I'm going over toxic leech. Okay, let me put this one back because toxic leech is tier 3. Whenever, whenever a unit takes damage for poison in a range of 5, you restore 2 health. This one is like an alternative to vampire for poison people, but I don't know situations that are very good that you need the health. When you're doing poison, you don't get hit much. So I'm gonna just probably keep it at E. Just correct me if I'm wrong if you know other situations where this one is warranted to get. It's also very specific. It's only for poison. It combos well with poisonous, of course. Of course, it combos well with poisonous. But other than that, poisonous is a bit of a corner store for these two perks. But you have to get two perks to make it work. But the poison perk trees, when you have a poison dude, you kind of go heavily into the poison perk tree because they are good with poison. But yeah, this one is the lesser of those. If you want to like stay in the front line very deep and want to actually heal, you have Toxic Leech. You become a leech. But I didn't play around with that. It's more memey than anything. But yes, and we're going back to Epidemic. Epidemic, I'm going to put it in B because Contagion is an interesting debuff and it works well with skills that are. Contagion also works with stuns and such, so it's very interesting. Uh, Actually, Epidemic, when applying poison, the Contagion debuff should also be added to the wiki, I think, because it's not. And also for Contamination, for Epidemic and Contamination, we should have it in line. And Contagion, indeed, is action efficient. You get more out of your back, or more bang out of your buck. But Epidemic and Contamination on the wiki probably should have Contagion mentioned, what it does. Because it's a bit of a more complex effect. And it's new in the patch. New people might not have it. I'm going to put it in B. It is strong. And it is very strong if you know what you're doing. You just start Corona all over again. I see a temporary fix, but it's similar to how it says like for Ballista. It says how the skill works. You can also say how Contagion works. Okay, and potent toxins. I think potent. Why am I saying potent? Potent toxins are probably A tier if you have a poisoner. That's it. It's not many people want to take it, but the people that want to take it take it. So it's A, 75% poison damage. It's double poison damage if you don't have any modifiers already. Yes, and it's a tier 5. If you use poison, you take potent toxins. Yeah, it's true. Contagion is a debuff, but it's cool to have it to be readable, to have it like in the same spot. So that's the poison perk line. It's interesting that we have one for each tier for the poison perk line, from A up to E. Interesting. And now let's go to the debuff wildcard perk line, which is static. So we're gonna go for stunning. A bit boring, but I tend to pick this one up, so I'm gonna put it in average. Yeah, good job, Top Gun and EXO for the wiki. It's so good to have it like everywhere because I had to literally start the game, roll new heroes, and hope I got the perk I wanted to in order to read the perk text. It's so good to have the updated wiki. Thanks for the everything. And EXO, look at these sexy icons that EXO extracted with the borders and everything. And this one is good. So we're staying at stunning. I'm gonna put it average because sometimes you want stun chance depending on what you're using. Very good on two-handed hammer, very good on scepter, very good, really relatively good on longbow. It works, and the stun chance is it can go up to 100%. So the closer you are to 100, you get better returns on it because it's additive. The plus, it's like a 15% boost to your already existing percent, which in turn means not 50% overall. It's like more than that. Yeah, and it's non-RNG, but it is a bit boring. I would like it to have a bit more flavor, like be more situational or something. I don't know, but we're not very inspired. It's 15% stun chance. It does what it says on the tin. Now contamination. When applying a debuff, you apply contagion. This one is good. I'm gonna put it above average in B tier. Contagion is strong in the right hands, and it works best with concentrated debuffs that do a lot, that are very strong and potent, but only target one guy. And you can make this one, this contagion go everywhere else. Both contagion perks are like B tier, in my opinion. Okay. Anything else to say about this one? There's a lot to be talked about contagion and the value of contagion. Contagion is valuable in this game, but you have to use a bit more neurons to play with contagion, and many people don't even bother. But it is fun. Okay, let's go to Sadist. Sadist is whenever a negative alteration is applied, 1% opportunism buff for 2 turns. 1% is very small. So this means Sadist is only useful on guys that apply a lot. So I'm going to put it on average because it can be good on guys that apply. It's good at power staff. It's good on, it works with poison also. So it's good on propagation with poison. You get more opportunism, but probably on the weaker side. I'm going to put it in D because opportunism itself isn't that valuable. Opportunism is strong, but it's mostly useful for weapons that multiply opportunism, like one-handed axe and stuff. It's weird. Power staff is like the best use of it because the normal attack applies a debuff, which is a very small debuff, like minus accuracy, but it triggers Sadist. I don't know how it works lore-wise. Why are you Sadist? By just doing a ray of light, but with game mechanics, you can stack up damage, and it lingers for 2 turns. So you can, if you're a machine gun, you're gonna stack up, ramp up for 2 turns in an area, and I played with power staff and some druids. They're good. Sadist gives you like 20% damage, 30% damage, 40% damage because of opportunism, and everything is debuffed when you have power staff. I'm gonna put it on D, but it is like A tier for power staff. And probably other weapons. Poison. It's a high skill ceiling spell. Okay, now we're going to bully. Bully is very tricky, but it's interesting. I don't know where to put it because, to be honest, I only theory crafted with it, but I didn't play with it. I think we are just not big-brained enough to understand how how good bully can be. I'm gonna put it below average because of that fact, because you need to be big-brained to use it. Bully, we also need like enemies that are strong to be able to use bully. When attacking a unit with 2 different types of negative alterations, you do guaranteed crits. Yeah, Mark. It works with Mark, of course. It's a combo with Mark because Mark is free. You have a big guy, an elite. But right now, I would like Apocalypse. What's the biggest Apocalypse? It's 6, I think. I would like Apocalypse 7 to have double chance of elites or something. So elites are very often, and you're shitting your pants because when that happens, you need bully to like because elites are soaking up so many actions to kill them. And having something like bully to like you do like 1 or 2 crits on an elite. Yeah, and poison works and everything. It's a sleeper perk. You will need bully as the game gets harder and we get more maps. It's good for later. Right now it's there just for you to be a bully, but later on you'll need it to survive. That's my sentiment with bully. Okay, I'm gonna leave it below average for now.
because in practice it's not good. Let's go for Hex. Any negative alterations applied, increase duration by 1 turn. Hex, I'm going to put it on E because it's tier 5, and it can be even D. It's probably B with stuns, but indeed it is a meme machine. But I'm going to put it on E because it's you'd rarely want it. But I do like Hex. You have to have like a weird combo going on that you apply on people for Hex to be worth it. Because usually when you do, here's the problem with Hex. It's one extra turn. Okay, but one extra turn doesn't matter usually. For poison, it doesn't matter. They're usually dead in 2 turns or something. For the only thing that is really good is stun, because stuns are usually 1 turn, and with Hex, they're twice. So Hex can be good if you get swarmed. You have like a very high stun chance two-handed hammer that you just whack an area and you leave it for 2 turns and you go fight somewhere else or some shit. But because panic exists, you want to finish people. You don't want to leave them stunned. It's for two-handed hammers maybe, and some other stun creators. For power staff, it can be good. You leave the stun to be twice. But I don't know other debuffs. Contagion debuffs. Maybe there are some weird shenanigans with contagion that we don't know. Because I think Hex and contagion, it will remain even longer. So you can combo it even further. It's a meme machine. Okay, I'm gonna leave it at that. But it can be useful for survival with stun. You can delay a lot late game stunning. If you got like 100% chance of stun, then Hex is like good daddy. You can take it and be happy with it because you have the consistency. You just stun an area, go to the next or something, and I'm gonna deal with you later. You can stun the whole map. But that's it. That's it. Okay, we're gonna go to my least favorite perk line, which is the defense one. Some people love it, some people hate it. I'm the hate category, but it is unique. It is interesting. There are um, right now the build aspects of the game, like the walls, the ballistas, those need more work in the game at the moment. And I do like the engineer side of things. I think in the code, the dev said this is actually called the engineer perk line. We call it defense because it has back protection and stuff. I'm gonna just start with back protection to not go too far. Back protection is below average, but it can be useful if you don't have armor in situations when you want to stay frontline. That's it. Because you're always gonna be near something. You want you think this is A tier? Try to convince me that this is A tier. It does scale now. 24 armor. It's only 24, and later on it becomes higher. You defensive is not really good at the moment, but you do need it. It basically removes the need to spec defense for ranged or mage. Back protection. Sure, but you don't need. Yeah, if you don't have options in your tier ones that are best, you can take this. But yeah, you don't need much. Defensive training. Defensive training. I'm gonna put it on average. Where are you? Over here. Gonna put it on average because it has a potential for abuse. Basically, it works with multiple heroes. So if you have like a whole lineup, like of 4 heroes of that have the defense perk line, and you get defensive training, when you spam catapults and ballistas, each kill will be worth 4 in terms of XP. So you can multiply XP, and it also double scales with plus % of XP gain. If you have one of those, it scales up. So this one is good. It can be, but you have to start it early, and it's tier 2. You can get some records level of XP using this. I don't like how it affects the core mechanics so much. That's what I don't like about it. I would like to have like at tier 2 an a reinforce perk, for example, an engineer that could like in a 3 by 3 area, an engineer could armor up some defenses. That would be nice. You could, if you are about to get hit, you have your engineer do something. Would be like more flavorful. Mhm. Yes, and defense training is good if you have more of them. But let's go to resupply. Resupply works on traps and catapults. And I think the main one I like is the catapult version. Because you can get, how many uses was it? 2 uses per turn? 3 uses per night. So it's 3 catapult uses, which means it's a 1.5 catapults worth of stuff. Is it good? If you use it for traps, it's, I think, a bit on the weak side at the moment. I'm gonna put it on E tier. It's the stun traps, yes. That one is indeed pretty good. That's, I think that's the most cost effective, catapults and stun traps. But you have to go a lot around to use it. I'm not sure you're even gonna do 9 resupplies. 3 uses per night, 2 uses per night. And you're not gonna resupply 9 traps. You are. You have to have them very clumped up in a weird area. It has uses, but it's a bit finicky. I'm gonna put it in D because it does have potential indeed. Okay. Human Ballista. Human Ballista, people like it. I don't like the flavor of it, but the numbers are good. Just it doesn't make sense where you're pulling the ballista from and shooting, but yes. Um, it has adaptive damage, so it does your damage type. It's free. I'm gonna put it on average. It's free or even higher because it does do damage. I'm gonna put it on B tier. Yeah, memes with a meme ballista, but I'm gonna put it on B because it does do damage. It's free 2 attacks. And I'm not sure, it says 110, 140 base. Which is it like what? Like a tier 2 weapon? Probably like a tier 2 weapon. So it's like 2 extra attacks. If it said +2 random AP on this entire thing, it would sound good, you know? And that's what basically is. It's like 2 extra attacks. Very memey, but it's weird. It looks interesting, but it's weird. Fortress Master is good with the current strength. I'm gonna put it in A tier because it has a raw power, like 50%, and it can stack with multiple people. It's you can just AFK in base. The engineer. They're sapping my turret build over here. Yeah, if you have it on all heroes. And destroy all buildings, have your base be very, very small, very compact with a lot of catapults. But catapults need to have a limit, like of 16 catapults. Right now it's a bit ridiculous. Right now it's basically S tier if you have a lot of catapults. And people do have it. But it's A tier at the moment. Because the numbers don't lie, 50% stackable. I'm not sure about the stackable part, but I understand why they made it like stackable because it's annoying to have if one guy has Fortress Master. I mean, it could have been unstackable. You know why? Because you can have 2 Fortress Masters in 2 corners. I think stackable is a bit weird. It's so hard to balance anything, any other defenses in the future. Like if you have three people with Fortress Master, and the best part of this is catapults, you just move them near the catapult, all of them, and then the catapult goes like ICBM, weapons of mass destruction. Like it does 250% total damage of a catapult, like 2.5 shots in an area with one shot. You just have to move your guys. Like, yeah, guys, let's put more gunpowder in the shot. With catapults, they're insane. Of course, ballistas are very strong at the moment, but catapults you can intelligently choose where to shoot. So if you have like two fortress masters and 10 range, exactly, it's a lot. It should be like 5 or something, but no, 5 would be too anti-fun if it was too short. Fortress Master would be nice to be like the resupplier, an active skill that you have to use so you don't forget, like a 3 by 3. You do and you activate it, and maybe it lingers for 2 turns. Would have been nicer like that, and that would be that would be also stackable. That would not be fun actually, because one guy could stack it multiple times. It depends. Right now, the current implementation is fine. Would have been more fun and more interactive, because you might forget you have Fortress Master because you have your perks over there. So if it was an active skill, you will never forget to use it, usability wise. So yeah, so those were the defenses. Fortress Master is A tier. Now we're going to the juicy damage is king part of the perk. So this wildcard perk line, the assassin one, has the two that are basically insta picks most of the time. So I'm gonna put cherry picking is cherry picking. You have monsters that you can hit that are isolated, and it's very early. It's like out of all those options, when you see this, you like always pick it because it's good on everything. Not a fan of this because it's like this, but yeah. You remember the time when we had cherry picking and something else with 50% reliability when at full health? All heroes basically had 80% reliability from two perks. I'm not a fan of reliability like this. That's 4 levels, by the way, of level ups. The number is too high. That's my problem. If it was 20%, it was average. But now it's 40%. It's S tier. Yeah, it's always peak. But the number is too high. 40% reliability also translates on average. Let me think about it. I need to do probably some maths, but about 20% damage or something along those lines if you half it, because your minimum gets boosted. Let me see. Yeah, it works. It gives you damage on average about 20%. But I'm curious about the actual maths. It's not clear cut. It depends on what you already have, how much damage you actually get with a boost of 40% reliability. That's how the math works out. But yeah, cherry picking is S tier. Boom is better than cherry picking. I will be agree. That's the hyper carry. But this is like boom is like the ultimate late game perk, and cherry picking is like the ultimate early game perk. That's how it is. You will start killing monsters after you pick this up. They will die. You won't. Oh man, he survived at 5 HP. Not gonna happen anymore when you pick cherry picking. Okay, and first blood is similar, but I'm gonna put it probably A tier. Let's put it A tier. It's not actually S, but it's very good because units at full health is the norm. In practice, everything is full health because of the flow of the game. So 15% crit on a perk. It's crit on a stick. So keep it at A. Not gonna say much. 1 by 1 is a very interesting and very fun perk, but it's only good on one guy or maximum two because you run out of isolated people if you have too many people with 1 by 1. But it's so fun. And I like that they listen to the suggestion to also make it better on melee because it's much easier to get 1 by 1 on ranged people. So yeah. Also, I had 1 by 1 once on a scepter, and I was actually saddened because scepter is magic damage. It should have been like when using melee attacks, not physical damage. But anyway, melee ranged attacks. It would have been tricky because some melee attacks are actually ranged for some reason. Okay, 1 by 1 is, I'm gonna put it B. It gives you damage, and you can also stack it up for a big finale, for a big AoE. You like do 4%, 4%, 4%, and then you do a propagation or something for 12 extra damage. It's not. It's fun. It's frustrating, but it is fun. It's frustrating and fun because you feel like you're losing. It reset again. It reset again. But if you like planning like me, it's it's fun. You can have a. It works very well on a long bow that hits everyone and stuff like that. Critical Master, 20% crit power every 12 units killed, more crit power. Again, I have a beef with crit power in the current version of the game because we don't have big, bulky monsters that you need to crit on them. Otherwise, they're at your gate. Because crit power, yeah, I'm gonna put it even lower. Oh, maybe D. Let's see, compared to these things. I'm gonna put Hex actually higher because it does have power. It just you never pick it because there are better options. But let's keep Hex higher because I'm looking at these and Hex was standing out. Yeah, I'm gonna put this one probably even here. Critical Master. 12 units is a lot, and it's only 20%. The numbers don't look right. The numbers are very undertuned. It scales really high, of course, after you kill a lot, but it should scale with the number of crits you do, for example, every 8 crits, for example. If you're playing a crit build, that would have been better than every 12 units killed. But then again, multi-hit ruins the game for everyone because multi-hit will be individual hits. I don't like that. If multi-hit gets removed from the game, maybe. But yeah, this one is iffy. Would need a bit more tuning on the number department and be maybe every 8 crits you increase your crit. That would be fun, actually. Critical Master. You're sharpening your blade or something. Okay. Legendary Assassin. This one is interesting, and of course, it's very good with multi hits because you can abuse isolation with multi hits. It's action economy, so let's put it at B. I don't think it's A tier. So you're killing 3 guys. It's a A tier for multi hit, like everything in this game, and it's B tier for everyone else. You get like a 50% or a 30% discount on some attacks. Actually, every 3 isolated units killed. Very weird, but think about it. You could do like a big AoE, like Meteor, on a lot of units, some of which are isolated. And it does trigger isolated bonus. So Legendary Assassin works on anyone. Yeah, you don't have to worry. You just have actions from time to time. Yeah, I'm trying to think of ways you go like positive with actions. Like you do like, let's say, let me give you an example. You have like 3 guys in a line with a gap between them, and you have a two-handed great axe that you just whoosh, you do AOE with 2, and then you get 1 action point back because you did kill like 3 isolated units. But that's very very niche. There aren't many situations. Or you do a meteor ring on an area where people are spread out. or a guy. You can make your own isolated units, by the way. So let's not forget that. You have your other guy kill units in a way that they're isolated. So yeah, it's good because it's action economy. Action economy is always good. And now we're in a miscellaneous pool, and we have all of these left. So let's start. I'm gonna just breeze through them fast. Let's start with coagulation. Daily heart regen into mana. It's average. No, don't need to say much about that. In situations, it can be good, depending on your generation. You don't really want to pick up health regen. Yeah. You see that you say that it always works. Nah, I don't think it always works. I only take it if I already have some daily regen. Cheer, I want to put B or A, but I'm gonna put A to be honest. I've been playing with cheer a lot. It it's 15%. It's not 10%, 15%. It's a lot of damage. And it's for all of your attacks. It's 15% times how many action points you have. I'm gonna keep it at A. I don't care about haters that forget to put cheer on. Right now with the range of 10 is very good. Yeah, imagine a level up, 15% damage. And it's everybody collaborates. It is good. Leapfrog is under average, but it is fun. I'm gonna say it's fun the way you can move. You play your zombie checkers over there. But right now we have very good options you will see over here for movement. Avid learner is average. You have to pick it up early. And 25% XP. And potion throw, of course. And quick reload. Yeah. It matters less. Those are all of them are tier 1 except avid learner. Quick reload. Quick reload I think is pretty good. I'm going to put it in B. It depends on your loadout, but some loadouts benefit tremendously from this, and I like it. It gives you options, but you have to plan and think a bit. Is it worth it? It's a complicated choice. It's the best one. The best one in my book is cheer, but quick reload is good. Quick reload is better than cheer on some characters and loadouts, indeed. But I don't think it's A because it's not always good. You have to think. For cheer, it's brain dead. I have a cheer. Is this guy gonna be near other guys? Good. Let's not forget to cast cheer. That's how it is. But quick reload, I have people with quick reload on, and I tend to not even use it. And it's only 3 times per night. It's not infinite uses. So yeah. And potion throw, and overload. I'm a fan of them. And here's my reasoning. Potion throw. Let me put it. This is average. It's not good. Overload is a bit above average because it gives you plus uses, which are very good. So uh, every team that I play usually has a backpack guy, a potion backpack guy. Usually a guy that started with 2 slots, and I get potion thrower. Sometimes I don't get potion thrower. I skip it and I just get mana overload because that's the overload perk because that's better. But with potion thrower I can do it at a distance with like 3 people. It's just think about it as it saves up gold. Potions cost gold, and you need less potions, and you can buy like stronger potions and put them all your strongest potions go on the potion backpack dude. And my argument is this: some heroes are shit in their perk tree generation, and when you look at your perk tree in practice, here's how it works: you look at your perk tree and you see nothing is good here. Is this guy my backpack? That's the question that it usually goes, and that's how you make your backpack hero. And he ends up being useful. You give him a wand, you give him something, and he just cheers people. He gives potions. He does everything. You can even give him a scepter, and he gives people more movement that are stuck and dodge. It's many things. You can give him like a one-handed crossbow. You don't have to go full support, of course. You can still have him be a damage dealer. especially because he can use like potions on himself very effectively, like the damage potions on himself, and he always has mana to do whatever the hell he wants. So I like the potion package, and potion throw basically enables you to be a support from range. Otherwise, you have to have movement and or plan your turns to go like across the map, like an Uber Eats potion services. It's fun to play, and it is strong. You get if you look at the raw things that you get out of these two perks, the potion perks, it's a lot numbers wise because potions are, especially during the course of your run, potions are, you tend to use your potions up, all of your uses. That's how, that's why I don't ever buy like a mana pool or a temple, because the potions are, if you use them properly, they are generating a lot of stats, raw stats. So I like it. So that's my long rant about that. So let's go to flexibility. Okay, flexibility and where is it? Versatility are my favorite. They're basically you are shoehorned in this game to pick up one damage type, and this one can fix that. You have a possibility. The only problem I have with this, I would have liked this to be like a perk, a wildcard perk line, because sometimes you don't have both of them. It's like, let me see the chances. One, two, three, four, five. I don't know the chances, but you don't have flexibility and versatility together most of the time when you want it, which is sad. I would like to always have them. For if I want to go mixed, I want to have them, but because the generation can be as in your favor, the flexibility and versatility is probably the first things I check when I see a new character, because I want to know, hey, can I be funky with you? So flexibility, if you start alternated, 6 out of 25 chance to have both. Yeah, that's kind of low because you need both. So it's like one in five. Oh man, is it that bad? Thanks for the math. Yeah, it's uh, yeah, indeed, it's very low. It feels like it. One out of five heroes can be made flexible. I would like to have it like all the time. It's also the same with blood magic. When you see, oh, I have so much mana usage, I'm gonna pick up blood magic, but I don't have blood magic, or I don't have blood magic and vampire, because you kind of want both of them to unleash your full potential. Yeah, you have to, yeah, you have to check blood magic and versatility. But I'm a fan of them. Flexibility is average because you have to find a use for it. It would be even good if it was like 20% damage. I think for mixed, for the things you have to do, you have to bend yourself backwards to make mixed heroes work. It should be like the numbers should be better, like 20%. For example, specialist, like a busted perk, it gives you 30%, and you're not losing much. You still have enough skills to play. Specialist is like I'm gonna probably put it S tier. Is compared to that, only 15% damage for flexibility is not much. And you also need versatility. Yeah. A mixed martial artist or something. It would be nice because you also see it when you start your hero or you go in the inn. You know, hey, this guy can be built mixed. You will see a perk line. Like imagine an orange perk line that has like a mixed symbol or something. All of the three weapons. And you see, oh, this guy can be built mixed. You see it. Now you don't see it. You have to know what to look for because these are not miscellaneous necessarily. Yeah, that would be fun. I would like another perk line just for flexibility, versatility, and a few more in that area. Maybe even a punch perk if you want to sometimes punch once and that counts as a different type of attack. Whatever. The dream is not dead yet, but yeah, would be fun. I really like the build that can be unlocked, and there are some good ones. For example, let me tell you some good flexibility, mixed martial arts that you can do. You can do um, sword with pistol for momentum. You can do poison from both a druid and from both areas. I'm there were like 6 or 5 more ones that are really good that can be done flexibly, but you need to plan ahead. So it rewards good skill. Okay, glass cannon. Glass cannon is good because there are heroes that don't get hit. I'm gonna put it in A. 15% crit. It's like a perk that gives you 15% crit. Unfortunately, that's good. In the backline heroes, yeah. What can you do? Overload, I was a fan. This is above average. I told my reasons why. Nimble. I don't like nimble because everyone has bruises on them. So I'm gonna put it in E tier, and it gives you dodge. So you want to use the dodge somehow, but yeah, I'm gonna put it in E. Nimble needs something else. I don't know what, or a lot of movement or something. But right now, hmm, it's it doesn't have an identity, and it's the condition is too hard because you want it to be, even if it is tier one. What do you replace? Leapfrog. It's weird. Okay, nimble. Runic gift. Runic gift. I'm gonna put it in A. I'm not gonna put it in. It can be S. And here's why. Imagine you have a perk +1 multi-hit or something, or +1 AP straight up. Sounds good because a trinket can give you that. Trinkets are very strong. I mean, I would like multi-hit to be removed from all items, but right now we have it, and that makes it very powerful. So trinkets can be S tier depending on your trinket, but you do need to invest and you need to buy. Trinket slots, just make sure you don't already have 2 trinket slots, but they are good. You need to pay extra to make use of it. Initiator, where is Initiator? Initiator is A tier because multi-hit is very balanced. Equipment turn, I guess slot on the wiki. Let me see. Uh, it should be equipment slot. Yes. Yeah, we are turn-based people. Everything comes in turns, as you can see. Yes, Initiator is A tier because it's 2 multi-hit. And 10% damage means jack shit. It should be like 20% damage or 25 or 30. So that's how it is. Quantity versus quality. This gives you more bounces and it can get concentrated as you go along the run. So quantity versus quality is interesting, but I'm not sure where to put it. It's 3 bounces, so based on the numbers, I'm gonna put it in A, especially on druids and stuff that applies. Nah, the wiki is excellent, Top Gun. Shut up. I can actually do what I can do here. So quantity versus quality is good. It's A tier. We have many things in A tier. I wonder if I can detach. I'm gonna put this one in S tier, the trinket, because you kind of get good trinkets. Other than that, seems to be A tier. Okay. Lone Wolf. I'm a fan of Lone Wolf even for the first bonus because it's 8% damage in a perk at tier 3. And damage is damage. So I'm gonna put it at B. So above average. Lone Wolf, if you go, you can arrest your hero in a corner of a map between waves and go in and out to get the second perk of Lone Wolf. But it's good on melee usually. There's something I never seen people do this, but basically placing your hero in your range hero in a corner of the map where monsters don't spawn, so he gets lone wolfed. Maybe some people will play like that in the future, but right now, so many things in the game to think about, people forget to about lone wolf. But lone wolf is even good for the first bonus and sometimes getting the second bonus of it. it's nice that now it's in 2 tiers, and it's above average. I think it's damage. Damage is good. Blood magic, where is it? S tier. Because you can spam the. They can nerf mana as much as they want. If blood magic is like this, you will have mana for everything. Does it cost? And scrolls are in the game. Let's not forget. My last runs, I didn't even use scrolls because I wanted to use mana on my organic mana skills. But blood magic, man, you can destroy everything. Go infinite. Mana shield. This one below average or something because right now in the game you don't need. There is no incentive to block a guy for many turns. If there was a guy that was like a train that was barreling down to your circle and you had to hold him with your fists and your chest, then we're talking about defenses. We need a tank. We need somebody to be the tank. Hold that guy. He's gonna fuck everything up. And he gets like a priority for heroes. Tank that guy until we kill him. Then this thing will be good. But right now I'm gonna probably put it even on E tier. Hero gains block. And I think block is capped. Block should be capped at 100 or something. And it's tier 4. I'm gonna put it over here, not at tier E right now. But if we have, there are tools that it's good that we have tools for defenses for taking a hit, but we don't have situations for those at the moment. But in the future it might be different. Now inertia, I'm gonna put this in S tier because I played with it and it's bonkers, man. You you want to be there in the other end of the map. You just you're like Spider-Man. You find monsters along the way that you kill and you push through. That one and Relentless, you have, it feels like you have infinite movement with Relentless and Inertia. And it makes everything that is momentum based very valuable. Spear, sword, scepter. Inertia, momentum is very strong at the moment. And it's uncapped. It should be capped to like 500, but it's uncapped. So you can one-shot bosses. And inertia translates, oh, why is it good? Not just movement and positioning. It translates to damage when we're talking about momentum. So everything right now that there is a damage meta game that we're playing. We have to kill everything as fast as possible. So inertia is good. And it's tier 4. It's not tier 5. You can get it semi early. And your guy that was sluggish, all of a sudden he can go in, kill everything, and have movement to get out. Very, very strong. It's I love it. It's one of my favorite perks, uh, power-wise, power-wise, not flavor-wise or anything. Okay, volatile reaction. I have to put it on S tier because because of probability. You want consistency and this everything that is general and probability. This one, the propagations can bounce diagonally. Part it like 5 increases your chances of finding a good chain by 5 times. And you have a guy that wants to chain multiple people. Chain there, chain there, chain there. But he runs out of chains. With this, screw that. You also get one extra bounce. One extra guy will die for all of your attacks. It's very good in practice. Because you get situations from the random chaos of situations, you find more stuff to hit. Now versatility, I love it. I love versatility, but I'm gonna put it in B, probably. Yeah, above average because it's not good if you want to win the game necessarily, but it unlocks very nice things that you can do, and it is fun. Right now the numbers are a bit on the weak side, but you can get maybe some combos that are ridiculous, some weapon combinations that are ridiculous. You get pistol and sword. You're like a swashbuckler or something, pirate. You can do a lot, and you can use like uh, the pistol to grab grapple onto someone and go next to him. It's so much fun. And I played a bit with versatile. It's just sad that you get it so rarely. Yeah, melee damage is very. It's a lot of damage. That's what I like about melee. And now we have a lot of movement. Level ups give a lot of movement for melee people. Okay, specialist S tier, of course. 30% damage is 30% damage, and you're not losing much. You are technically losing your second weapon set, which can give you bonuses, like can give you stats and stuff. But 30% damage is, hmm, it's very good. And on situations, it just works. There are some, and it also works well if you have this quick reload, because you might run out if you have a lot of AP or AP generation, regeneration at least. You might get something like that. Okay, let's go with Don't Panic. Don't Panic, I feel it is average. It's a lot of bonuses and 30% damage. So it is good. The numbers are good. But they have to go inside your plate. I'd prefer over. So this specialist, you have stats in my second slot. Yeah, it's true. Maybe this one is A, but I still feel it's S tier is like insta pick though. Have it at A. Man, indeed, depending on what stats you have in your other weapon, you are losing those stats and getting 30% damage and one extra use. But the one extra use is also good for Blaze. It's not insta pick. Not even for me too, to be honest. So if that's what S tier means, yeah, I'm gonna keep it at A then. Sure. But it can be S tier for some build. Don't Panic is average. Adrenaline Rush. So Adrenaline Rush is for only for high dodgers, but it's 1 AP, so it's very good. But you have to build dodge, so it's average because it's very situational. But it becomes A and S if you get the combo going. But until then, nope. Blessing. Any buff applied by this hero has its duration increased by 1 turn. It's below average for the moment, or even bad, because there aren't good buffs. Increased by 1 turn. I don't see situations. I'm gonna put it in E. Let me know if I missed any buffs that are. It is tier 5 exactly. I'm gonna put it at E. And Night Owl. Night Owl, there is currently a bug in the game, but it's gonna be fixed. But Night Owl, I feel it's A tier. Yeah, it's action points. 2 action points. 3 move. Not for a, not for the entire night, but you get a power spike. And if more bosses get added to the game, Night Owl will basically boost you for when the boss comes. And Big Game Hunter is for bosses. I think this one is D tier, is below average. 300 or more max health, every elite will have this. It's good, but right now we're not swarmed with bosses and elites at the moment, but if that happens, it's gonna be good. It's probably the best for bosses, but we only have one boss in the game. And this is it. That was it. Gonna export this one to YouTube, share it to people, and thanks for contributing also. I'm happy with it. It's interesting that Boom is S tier. But yeah, anything else we want to shuffle around? No, I think it's fine. The F tier is these two. Yeah, it's never pick. That's the never pick tier. Yeah. Okay, shoot some small changes. What do you think are some small changes? I want to see if I agree with them. If I missed considering something. Indeed, the one with the specialist, you lose a lot of side stats from your offhands, from your second kit. That is a good argument. Gonna wait for your comment if you have anything. Other than that, we can wrap it up. And this is the tier list. The icons themselves, by the way, overload. Overload. Hmm. Okay. You mean this overload, right? There's only one overload. A tier. I only like it above average. I will keep it above average, to be honest. And back protection. You like back protection? I can put it average if you feel. Indeed, it's only one perk investment, but yeah, it is. It is. The numbers are okay. I'm gonna put it average because it's tier one. Yeah, it's very early, so people do pick it quite often. I haven't picked it in a while because the way I play, I don't get hit. I plan to not get hit. So okay, this is it. This was it. I'm gonna just export this one. Oh, and I will add in the description and also in chat a Reddit thread where I posted as a top level comments all of the perks over here. All of the perks here are gonna be there, and people can talk and discuss more strategies about them and vote which perks you like and dislike. So that's gonna be it. Unfortunately, the icons are not very. Not all of them are great to be. How should I say? Glance value is not that great for some of them. For example, what is this one? This is you decrease reliability, increase range, so it's longer weapons or something. This one is like flexibility or versatility. Which one? Or this one or that one? I think this is flexibility. Yeah, it was even worse in the past, but the icons should be more identifiable, like cheer, fortress master. Those look cool. Specialist, relentless. The boom is like carnage over there. Yeah, the trinket slot, it shows a trinket. Resupply one is, there are some things that are easy. The fatality one is nice, but others are hard to understand exactly what they are. That one is the range. The design of some of them could be improved, but you can get used to them. You can get used to them. Okay, guys, thanks for joining. I'm gonna stop it here and gonna post the video later. See ya.